Hello. So, I'm actually starting this recording at 2:22, not planned, and I felt something that wanted to come through all day, but I wasn't quite sure what it was, and I decided to take a drive earlier, pretty last minute, and when I left, it was 12 o'clock. I arrived at my destination at 12:12, and then I left at 12:21. None of this was planned in any way. So there's something about these numbers and time. And in my last transmission, I was also speaking about time, and I believe it was in the Overflow Patreon heliotalic iridescent light transmission. As I said that, I just saw like a stream of light. The color, sometimes it's hard to describe. I would say it was on like in the violet spectrum with like I'm feeling like a sapphire pink as well. And so I kept feeling this heaviness coming over me today. I had just a very, I don't want to use the word slow, but I felt like a little bit in slow motion, a little sluggish, honestly. And I could just feel this like collective message coming through, but I wasn't quite sure what it was yet. And then in the span of a very short period, the halls of Amenti came up like a lot of times. I would say within like 10 minutes, things just kept like showing up on my feed and I had not like researched halls of Amenti lately, like nothing like that. It was just like halls of Amenti. And then the sound healing meditation popped up. One of the things labeled halls of Amenti, which is on in the background right now. I did not make it. It's just something that came up on YouTube. And the title is Halls of Amenti, Transformational Sound Healing Meditation. And I'm being guided to read in the beginning. I'm restarting it. Oh, it's funny. I went to record this and I don't know, I just like couldn't get the energy going at first. And so I only recorded for like 40 seconds and then I deleted the first take. And it's funny, I was just guided to restart this. So someone here may be going through that, like feeling like the first try. And I heard the song in my head from Aaliyah, first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. So that could be relevant for someone. And it's like having the stamina to, I'm not hearing to push through, but to persevere through any density or heaviness that you may be feeling, which I know I've also been doing the same. And so I was sort of just I got to a spot before I decided to record this where I was just like, okay, I'm not going to do anything right now. I'm just going to lay here. And then like I needed to like move my body. So I just started letting my body move and however it needed to move out. And I was just like, I think that I did like 3 meditations today. Like, yeah, there's just like something, I just heard like something in the air. I made a joke the other day about like the ethers being crowded. And it's funny because there's so much talk right now about like, spiritual warfare and these different, I'm using air quotes. You can't see me though. like parasites or entities like being ramped up right now. And so, yeah, if you're someone who's just on the more sensitive side energetically, or just feeling like you are just really having a hard time, like this really I think is being transmitted for those who really feel like you clear your energy, and then like a sponge, a second later it's like, or 5 minutes later, an hour later, you're like, ooh, like you just feel it again no matter what's happening. So this, you know, if you're not drawn to that, that's okay. But I feel like usually I don't like get very specific on like an audience. Maybe I do and I don't realize it, but I don't think so. And this just feels like very specific. So yeah. Yeah, your throat, like my throat all of a sudden is just clogging up. Your throat might feel a little bit, or it doesn't have to be the throat, but specifically what I'm getting is like the throat, the neck, and just like head fogginess or heaviness. You know, like when they say brain fog, or I'm seeing like a veil over someone's face. Like Lady Gaga, or, excuse my voice, Madonna. I feel like they both have done music videos. I don't know why that's coming up right now, but that's what I'm seeing, like almost for fashion purposes, but I'm also getting it's like, now I just heard being shunned. And I felt like that just like went straight into my heart. Like my heart just lit up with a little bit of pain. I'm just going to take a moment and sit with that. Okay. So on the screen that I'm looking at, excuse me again, there's like these, it looks like it's the background of a sky. And then there's these like cloud formations. So they almost look like they're in, a few different images were popping out for me. It was like the DNA helix, there were two, so it was like a double DNA helix strands, and also the like when people like look at chains. I don't know why I said when people look at. I didn't mean to say that. So when people look at, maybe when certain people look at you, you feel that. Like maybe it's something you feel, like what I'm about to describe and what I just said. So you might like be feeling that, like you're walking down the street, or you know, you're doing your normal everyday life things, and you just like start to feel this heart pain. Excuse me. Wow, yeah. And I just like had 2 small burps release from my throat. So okay, yeah. So you might just be feeling like walking around and again having those feelings come through you. Some of you may be very aware of this, and some of you may be more new to this experience. So yeah, just like I said in the beginning, not to stop what it is that you feel called to do, but to really just take your time. And like I was talking about in the last transmission, allowing the inner workings of your own auric field to like orchestrate your own time, perceiving of time. And the more that you like allow that to happen, I don't really love the word allow, the more that you just keep holding that, I'm seeing like someone's like the holographic perspective you have of your internal feelings toward time, because time is what is coming up right now. That expansiveness will continue to ripple out into your external life. That's what I'm hearing, and that has been happening for me too. And it's funny because I can hear someone saying, well, how do you have time to just take your time and you know, do what you're doing, which is a very valid question. I've gotten myself to a place now in life where, you know, people talk about like manifesting, right? Like that's the big craze right now. That word, well, I think we're always manifesting. It's just what we do, you know? And so I really just kept focusing on making decisions based in freedom. And that came with some sacrifice, you know, like I quit my job. I didn't mean to talk about all of this. It's just kind of coming through. And I was a freelance court reporter for over 10 years. And I left that without a plan, really. And I was tried, how do I say this? Multiple people had tried to talk me out of doing that, and I didn't listen to them, and I, you know, have just been making decisions ever since that are very like, you know, it's kind of like that blind faith, blind trust kind of sort of path. And I financially have been not quite recovered from that, but like I have a lot of time now that to me that currency was more is I'm not telling anyone to do this. What I'm saying is like that is how I've been balancing out my own time, if you will, and creating space for things that I feel were more calling my attention. And now that path is being created now where I'm starting to be able to like float through that path, doing what I've carved out and hoping and starting to see like the trickle effect of like now bringing in however you want to define abundance from that space. But you know, it's been taking some time and doing things that I never thought I would do. So I just want to be like very transparent about that. And if anyone is curious about more, you know, feel free to share and I will talk more about it. And again, this is a very, you know, these experiences are very unique to the individual. So like I am not telling you that this is like the code for you necessarily. What I like to do is to hold and carve that space and do things like this for you to figure out what it is that, you know, works best for you. And sometimes those will overlap with each other. You know, that's why I want to co-create community and have spaces and places to share and encourage each other and to hold space for each other. Not necessarily to just regurgitate a one-size-fits-all code, because I just genuinely don't really feel that at least at this current time on Earth, is kind of what is meant to be utilized most of the time. At least in the context I'm speaking of. Which brings me to what inspired this, the Halls of Amenti. So, as I said, they were popping up. You can, of course, do your own research if you haven't already on the Halls of Amenti. And I just saw 1330 on the timer, in case that number is relevant for someone. They say the Halls of Amenti are a liminal space, if you will, or space between worlds, between Earth and what some call Tara. I've heard Tara described a few different ways, but essentially like the higher dimensional plane of Earth, like an anthroposophy. I would kind of translate that as like the Venusian sphere. I'm being shown right now like some of the what we call inner earth frequencies, or Shambhala, the Agartha network. I'm hearing in my head the Fey trellis. I've been hearing that for days. I'm not sure what that is, but I keep hearing it. And I went to this little field near my my place where I'm staying, and I had a dog with me, and she ran like right to this spot that looked like, you know, it almost looked like it could, if it were a movie, like an interdimensional doorway would like pop in. And I heard when I looked at it, fairy trestle or fey trestle. So yeah, maybe it will utilize that and just see what comes through from it. Yeah, I'm almost feeling like these many shades of like jungle green, like when you look like high up from an aerial view of a jungle and you just see like so many shades of green and this like illuminated yellow marigold, like shades of like white gold, like really just like so illuminated, like almost like blindingly. So if anyone wants to utilize that visualization, please feel free. And one of the phrases, I believe, in the beginning of this video, I'm actually going to go back to the beginning. So there's something about that. I keep feeling drawn to go back to the beginning of something. It says, the halls of Amenti, sound healing journey to your soul blueprint. And I talk a lot about the original angelic crystalline blueprint and what some people refer to the original angelic human race lines. Excuse me. So that might be something that interests you, or if you've never heard that before, you know, just sort of pay attention to your body and how that responds, and perhaps there's some like truth that could be revealed to you, or revelation of some sort internally, or something that may show up in your reality that may like validate something that you feel. Yeah. Last night, actually, I was talking to my mom, and she's going through a hard time right now. And so I was doing a little bit of bringing through messages for her. And there's this oracle deck that I've been working on for a long time, just kind of playing with. And I was guided to just like, it's on Canva, like digitally. So I closed my eyes and just scrolled to like a random spot. It was actually page 31. And it was a card that I dedicated to Seshat, Thoth, or Toth, you can say it different ways. It said justice. I drew some what I call light codes. And I also had Ma'at. And then I wrote messenger, scribe, and ceremonial high magic. So any of those things could be relevant for someone. And also the mythos about Osiris and Isis came through for her, about sort of like going amidst the chaos and feeling very scattered, and how like Osiris, you know, was murdered and then resurrected from Isis, where she had to like find his parts, you know, that were scattered and put him back together. So it was like this metaphorical, you know, death process and shedding, feeling scattered, embracing it, and then again collecting these pieces and sort of rebirthing yourself. So I feel like that's quite a collective energy right now. It seems like a lot of those who are tuning into some of these more like esoteric teachings that are, you know, with the internet, much more readily available. So it seems to be like high speeding this knowing, you know, which is pretty cool. Anyway, so I just wanted to record because I was about to do something for myself. I closed my eyes and tapped in, and I felt angelic lineages coming through, and about to do what I like to call a releasing of the sheath. I first did this a couple years back, and when I did it for myself and I heard, okay, we're releasing a sheath, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't really know what that means, but let's try it out. And you know, when we have things that come through our own inner exploration, it can be exciting, and for me, I like to take time with it and, you know, let it sort of reveal itself over time, because generally when it first happens, it's not always just, even if it's like an instant download, there's still like things to be revealed over time to see how it shows up or how it affects, etc. At least in my personal experience. So yeah, I decided to share it today. So if you want to get comfortable, and however that looks for you, you can be seated or lying down. You can allow your eyes to be covered if that feels good to you. Maybe have a beverage nearby, a hydrating beverage. If you need to pause this audio to set yourself up, please do that. If you want a warm blanket, or to turn a fan off or on. And I will just walk us through utilizing my voice through this, what feels like a weaving of messages, and, if you will, an etheric journey into what we'll call, I'm hearing the word pilgrimage, tuning into the liminal space, into the worlds in between, and what for this audio I'll just label as the halls of Amenti. And I'm hearing retrieving specialized genetic coding. In accordance with the crystalline DNA structure. And I'm hearing right now the words aren't necessarily as, I heard important, but I'm also hearing the word potent. So the energetic transmission will be the potency of focus, and then, you know, as you want to learn more, if that is something you feel called to, you know, after you receive the energetic transmission, you know, you can come back and if you need to take notes or whatever it is, or however you best go deeper. And yeah, and if you're already very like versed in this lingo or these topics or this subject, I'm hearing to feel free to set your intention to receive that next octave, that next activation octave, in terms of creating space for that next level of vernacular to kind of come through you first energetically, so that when the next expansive, like life wave, I heard light wave, but then I said life wave. Yeah, so life wave, I'm hearing the word vitality. So perhaps this is also going to be interwoven with making space for more vitality, that you'll be ready to receive that next light code wave of encoded information. And it's showing me like Yeah, I'm hearing like hatchlings. The hatchlings will, I'm hearing the word percolate through in your own timing, each one of you. So if you want to maybe take a few breaths and close your eyes if they're not already closed. If you want to keep one eye open and play with being half in one realm and half in the other, you can do that too. You can let your eyes just get very heavy. You might want to like quickly blink them multiple times. And really tuning into your eyes, behind the eyes, the eye sockets. And if there's any sort of tension, just doing a quick body scan. And that can be your physical body, your emotional body, both, your mental body. Just doing your best to observe without making any sort of snap judgments. And maybe now starting at your feet and going up and doing a scan. Or if you did that the first time, go to the head and go down. You can also go across the body. Horizontally. And feel free to make micro adjustments as needed throughout your body. Maybe rolling your wrists and your fingers, wiggling your fingers, your toes, your neck in circles, very slowly. Bring your awareness back to the breath. Breathing in through the nose. Breathing in more through the nose, keeping the mouth closed. And if you can, just hold that breath in and continue bringing in air through the nose. You might feel your body start to tense up a little bit. Bring in a little more air. Continue holding if you can. And a little more. A little more, bringing your belly button in towards the spine. You might feel some discomfort. A little more. Bringing in the belly towards the spine. Tense up your body. Hold it. Hold it. And then just let it all go. And you can just take a moment and do another quick little scan through the body, through the bodies. And if you feel any points of tension still, just simply let go a little more. You might notice you're clenching your jaw, or maybe tensing your hands, or around the eyes. Your shoulders might feel a little tense, just by simply adding that awareness and letting go a little bit more. Allow your breath to come through more naturally without changing anything right now. Perhaps noticing if there's a shift in your breath from before the big hold and after. there are any intentions you'd like to set for yourself, for the collective and or collectives you feel connected to, for the highest good of all, I'll give you a moment to do that. I know this is a very nonlinear process, so if you don't have something off the top of mind, feel free when it comes through to just affirm it right now and let it weave in as you go. And if there's nothing specific, I like to just say whatever is for the highest good, for myself, friends, family, animals, oceans, the earth itself, any other celestial bodies or collectives you feel connected to, etc. Just letting that ripple out for the highest good of all. And I like to say in accordance with the unconditional love template. And I'm going to take a moment to just amplify that intention for all of us. Or intentions. Yeah, so thank you. Feel free to thank yourself for showing up and giving yourself the space and grace. I keep feeling like my hands want to move. Earlier I was doing some light language, and if that comes through my throat, the light language, you can just let it wash over you if that feels good to you. There may be what we call light language wanting to come through your own hands, or it might just simply be cleansing and clearing your own aura with an auric bath, like moving your hands around. So yeah, if there's certain parts of you that feel like it wants to move, even if it's other parts of your body, that is totally welcome. And yeah, trust whatever is coming through for you. You don't have to just lie still unless you feel called to. Yeah, I'm seeing someone almost like moving their spine in like a snake like movement, or like in Kundalini, the Sufi grind, where you move your hips in slow circles both ways. Or there might be something you feel called to do after this experience, to like move through any energy that you're releasing, and or to sort of integrate whatever it is that you receive. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to start slowly expanding our awareness. From the same location physically, you can just set your intention to expand maybe an inch above your physical vessel. If you're more versed in this and you feel like you're already expanded, please like go at your own comfort level in terms of that. I certainly don't want to keep you in any sort of a frame that you feel already expanded out of. That's why I love working in these more as we call them, quantum or nonlinear spaces, because no matter where you are, we can still work together. Yet also working with what is best for us in that moment. So continue to play with that. You can also do like that pulling out, coming back in effect, where you go out and then you come back, you pull it back in, and you go out a little bit further and you pull it back a little bit further, just to play with what that feels like. And I want to add in something that I love to play with every once in a while. And it's funny because I'd never seen it spoken about anywhere else. And I was guided to click on something today. I think it was either Instagram or YouTube. I can't remember. I think Instagram. Somebody posted a kaleidoscope. And when I first started shamanic journeying with this amazing woman online a few years ago, I kept experiencing something I was calling kaleidoscope vision. And I was really nervous to share at that time. Like, that's part of the reason why I joined this group. So maybe someone here is experiencing something like that. I was having so many experiences, but I was like really nervous to speak in a group. And so I decided to challenge myself and to join this group. And she was always so great, and she would say to me, you don't have to share if you don't want to, and I wouldn't sometimes. But with this, I remember she was like, but we always encourage you to. And so with this particular session, I shared about the kaleidoscope vision that I was experiencing. And so you may be seeing kaleidoscopes, maybe you have that experience yourself. Or perhaps after this, you may want to look at a kaleidoscope for fun online, or if you have one, you may have one show up as some sort of like sign right when you need it, I'm hearing. And when I first looked up the, metaphysical or spiritual meaning to kaleidoscope, I remember it had something to do with like a breakthrough in creativity. So that could be relevant for someone as well. And so what I like to do is, again, if you're someone who's already doing this, then please feel free to share about it, because like I said, I hadn't seen many people speak of this. I'm not saying that they haven't, I just hadn't seen it. So if you lightly push on your eyes, your physical eyes, you can push them down. You don't want to hurt yourself, but just start lightly holding them down and applying pressure. You might start to see color start to burst like a kaleidoscope. And I remember I was laying on my couch meditating, maybe in 2018, and something just told me to do that. I don't know, I just had the feeling, and I just started seeing all of that color burst through, and I was like, this is so amazing. And I always wondered, what other people experience when they do it. So if you don't see that, that's okay. You can also just utilize your visualization skills and just start cultivating that if that's something you feel called to do. And you can keep the pressure on your on your eyes as long as you feel called to, if that's something you're enjoying. And as you continue to let the color and the sacred geometric shapes, and start to imagine, if you're not actually seeing fractal patterns, and what we're going to do, because like I said in the beginning, I saw in that image on the screen 2 double helix. We're going to imagine almost like holographic projection out of the mind's eye of those fractal patterns, expanding our awareness, colors, shapes. And again, if you're not actually seeing it, that's okay. Just allow it to come through as if you are about to draw a picture. You know, first you might just start drawing and not even know what it is. Just imagine. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. Imagine it start to, like a hologram, like project out of your forehead, of your pineal, of your mind's eye. In the shape of a helix, a DNA helix. And if you don't know what that looks like, you can just imagine a wavy line starting to take shape like a spiral, weaving with another wavy line, almost forming like a ladder. But it's like a spiral, ever moving and shifting, waving. Projection. And as you continue to expand that, we're now going to add a second one coming out from the thymus gland, or the high heart, located, if you're not familiar, in between the heart and the throat, in between the two collarbones. If you want to take your finger, feel free to like press lightly on. You'll feel like a dip in between, a little bit under the collarbones, right in between the heart and the throat, which often is referred to as the high heart, and is said to hold like the seed of the unconditional love template. And you can even imagine that there's a seed there. I don't know why, but I keep getting the image of like the shape of like a vagina, you know, where life is birthed out of. I mean, we are doing this releasing of the sheath, so. And Tara is actually, I believe, I mentioned earlier, a translation for another aspect of the Divine Mother. So you may feel connected to white Tara, green Tara, the Hindu, I believe it's Hindu, Divine Mother archetype, Isis, here in Kuan Yin. Yeah, I'm getting like the Sisterhood of the Roses, or the Sisterhood of the Rose, the Cosmic Roses. I recorded a transmission a few weeks back, so perhaps you felt called to that, or maybe you do feel called to that, or perhaps some other material connected to that. I'm hearing the ruby ray and the rose ray. And you can now imagine this seed blossoming into a rose, any color or colors that you feel called to, and opening up slowly. I'm specifically getting the Bulgarian rose frequency. I've heard someone say it's one of the most, they call it like the highest vibrational things on the planet. I don't know that I would categorize it as that, but when I worked with that energy, it does feel just so, so pure and potent. And there's a whole history behind the Bulgarian roses. If you're interested, you can look that up sometime. I believe they're located at the bottom of the, I never say this right, the Riva Mountains in Bulgaria. So you may feel right now like you're sort of transporting through a mountainous type of terrain astrally, or perhaps you want to invite that feeling in. And now this rose is expanding into the second double helix strands, projecting out your consciousness a bit more, practicing that bilocation, projecting your consciousness in more than one place simultaneously. So you have your pineal gland expanded through the kaleidoscope vision, and now the high heart weaving together, projected out almost like a ladder or spiral staircases. And I see them and I feel them. I feel the energy getting lighter. So if it gets a little bit too light for you, at any moment you can just, slowly move your hands or your feet to remember that you're still in your body, or you can instantly ground your strands into the earth. And you can simply enjoy the lightness if that's something that you're feeling. And we will set the intention now to allow anything you're ready to let go of. So just simply release out of your field, instantly transmuted, into what I like to call the cosmic nebula. I heard actually the orgasmic nebula. Letting it flow through in any aspect of your personality, of your soul sheath, sheathe, sheath, that is ready to be released. I like to think of it almost like a pastry, like if you've ever eaten phyllo dough. I'm also hearing ancient Greece, so someone here may feel connected to ancient Greece. The phyllo dough, how the layer like flakes off. It's sort of like that, a layer of yourself that is ready to be released. I always send it off with love. You may feel multiple layers. And just imagine them however you feel it's coming through for you, that they are slowly leaving. And I've created a guidepost so it knows exactly where to go. Back to, I keep feeling that nebula energy, but wherever it feels for you is perfect. It may be back into the earth. It may be spending some time in the halls of Amenti, like recording and collecting information or codes that will come back anew. And if you want to expand a little bit further now, we're all going to filter in our projected creation of these strands. It may look like a swirling ball of light to you, projected out stargates of our own inner design and technologies. And when you're ready, you can and just know you can spend whatever allotted time is best for you in the space. You can also set your intention to come back when you're sleeping. Maybe you already are. Or the next time that you go into an inward journey, you can sort of set like a little pathway for yourself to come back into the space if it feels good for you. I had to pause because my friend who I'm staying with came back. So there may be just slight interruptions or seeming interruptions. And I'm hearing it's okay, sort of like in the beginning of the message. It may feel a little bit slower or harder to do things or get things done. But you can just keep recalibrating yourself and coming back. Like I said, I restarted the audio multiple times. And for this portion, I'm actually going to have silence in the background. And so wherever you are, we're going to expand up into, we're out. Into the next layer. And allowing that space of wherever you feel the sheath or sheaths left. And just honoring that space. Again, maybe thanking it. Allowing it to send you any last, I heard last words as a joke, any last messages that might want to come through. And just be open to receiving them in the best time. I now feel like there's a pulsar. A pulsar, if you're not familiar, says it's a celestial object thought to be a rapidly rotating neutron star that emits regular pulses of radio waves and other electromagnetic radiation at rates of up to 1,000 pulses per second. So if you want to utilize that as a visualization, and it's almost as if there's like these symbols and codes being, I'm hearing, re-etched into your auric field, pulsing into your auric electromagnetic waves. And in this moment, we will call back any fractals, any pieces of yourself, like the story of Osiris, that you feel may be disjointed or not a part of you at the moment. Although I know they say separation is an illusion, but soul soul fragmentation. That's the way it came out. You can almost, if you wish to envision it like you're in a video game, and I'm seeing Donkey Kong when you go throughout the different levels and there's these like puzzle pieces that you collect, and once you go through the realm, the whole realm, you can collect all the puzzle pieces, and they all reform together, and then you do like a bonus round. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. And we'll just invite those fractals or fragments back in through the halls of Amenti, through the morphogenetic field. For some of you, you may feel like they're like rotating around you, but they're not quite ready to be reintegrated, and that's totally okay. You will continue to be guided as to when it's time to actually pull that in. But for those of you, or maybe there's one that feels like it's coming back in and there's another one that's still kind of in your rotation. You know, when you're playing a video game, for example, like I said, Donkey Kong, sometimes you go through the board and then you might collect 4 of the 6 pieces, and you kind of, you know, you can continue on. It's not like you are not able to play anymore. And sometimes you just have to come back for it because it wasn't the right time. So that's totally okay. I'm going to transmit a little bit of light language I'm being guided to. And I just invite you to feel. Use your extrasensory abilities to perceive, to feel. Kosikara yasikishonto miaraka. Onsuntikaria shondondoria sikia shonya. Somya katia sishitiandoria fakia samantie isikia shintia maria tekia. Tomiara sikia asashianti kosondromia sashi. I just felt something like prickling the throat. You may be feeling sensations in the throat area. Physically, mentally, emotionally. And now we can invite in any symbols, codes, imprints, blueprints for your original blueprint for the highest timeline to come through. And when I say the original blueprint, I mean in accordance with the original angelic crystalline human race lines and whatever your unique soul's path wanted to experience. Now, this doesn't mean that, you're just going to know everything. It's more that you are continuing to fine-tune your vibrational frequency field into the now moment and the remembrance, so that each step you take, you'll feel more and more. Your feeling sensors are deeply activated. So if you feel like maybe you're veering or straying off of the path of least resistance, something will kind of like in bowling when you have those bumpers when kids bowl, or people who aren't great at bowling, to sort of steer you back into the lane. Now, I don't really think there's truly ever like a wrong way necessarily. I mean, it's up to you to utilize that discernment for yourself. But if you're here and you're tuned into this type of experience, you most likely feel some sort of sense of, unity, mission, the idea of feeling in flow and alignment. And I know these can sound like a lot of buzzwords, so I'm doing my best to bring through what I'm feeling. Until we're all fully telepathic, we still, most of us, utilize some form of language or communication. And so, yeah, perhaps some of you are feeling more telepathic lately, or maybe you did when you were a child. Maybe that's something you've always felt. Or perhaps you have memories of telepathy. So I'm seeing like telepathic codes are coming in. I'm hearing master builder. Ooh, I'm seeing master diver. Maybe someone here is becoming a master like scuba diver, or is one, or thinking about it. I'm also hearing like etherically. So you may be someone who just like, dives very deep into the depths of water, emotionally speaking. That's kind of cool. Like a master emotional diver. We already spoke about bilocation. I just heard the song Day Tripper from the Beatles in my head. I'm hearing Dreamweaver. There's a lot of like astral type of experiences and memories coming through. You may feel like you're someone who has astral jobs, like in your sleep or when you're meditating. Or you may like meet parallel versions of yourself. I'm feeling that pulsar energy again. I'm seeing like a swirl of ultraviolet magnetic light forming almost like a gaseous plasma cloud. And it's just preparing for us to come back when we're ready. And any of these codes, they're just some of the ones that I was feeling. You don't have to know right now consciously. What we're doing is just creating that space. And again, those hatchlings will hatch in the perfect time for you. I'll give you a few moments to explore around, say thank you. Maybe there's some guides that came through or aspects of yourself, other lifetimes. Perhaps just seeing events that were recorded. Maybe you found some like tablets or scrolls of some sort. Maybe there was like another symbolic code language that was coming through. You're not quite sure what it meant, or maybe you felt what it meant, or you will in the future. Perhaps you were in the void, in darkness, and that's exactly what you needed. For very few of you, if you felt like you couldn't get out of your own headspace and you were like just still sort of in the mental plane and having racing thoughts, that's totally okay. You can listen to this audio as many times as you need to, and or anything else that helps you to continue that practice of allowing the thoughts to turn more into a visualization of inward exploration. And just know, I'm hearing be on the receiving line of, again, any sort of communication from this experience that will come and weave through your life. It can come through messengers, dreams, synchronicity, sudden feelings of wanting to do things differently, angel numbers, divination, animals, nature, like nature signs, little like nuggets of pieces that show up. You may feel a little actually drained or tired and just needing more rest for a little bit while this integrates. Yeah, so just be sure to be really compassionate with yourself. Give yourself time to nourish your body when you can, in whatever that way works for you. Hydration, spending time with water, frequency music, silence. And when you're ready, you can jump through that ultraviolet magnetic swirling light, or however it shows up for you. I'm seeing you like swirl down a spiral. And I heard back in through the crown. I just saw 10707 on the timer. And take your time coming back into your body. And feel free to do some micro movements. Maybe a little self-massage. Feel free to share anything that you experienced or something that came through. No pressure, of course. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will do my best to respond in a timely fashion. Thank you so much, and that is all I have for today.